How are we looking? All right.
One moment. So I'm trying
Okay.
to figure out the best way to share this right now. I'm gonna try to move my little
Okay.
thing right here. Okay, so as you can see, 1, 2, 3, and 4, these are the ranked names. The top 4 choices for all the people who are at this meeting and who participated in the ranking tool. They are Southside Community, Ada Deer, Lori Van Carey, and Nine Springs. These 4 names represent 2 people at the minimum, which is part of the board policy requirement. There are also 2 place names. So everything fits the criteria for the policy. So our first question to the group is, are these the 4 names that you wish to advance to the Board of Education? And they are already in ranked order. So we don't need to do that again because these are already the results of the ranking tool, put them in this order. So, Mr. Chairperson, I'll continue to share this screen so that everybody knows what the rank and the names are. And you can handle the discussion from here. We just want to make sure that we vote on these names as they are here. And if there is some issue or there is not agreement, then we will the backup plan is to use a manual process for doing this. So this is anonymous at this point. If people are willing to share who they voted for and why, now would be the time to share that.
They could also go back and look at their initial scoring that they sent for these particular organizations or proposals, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the floor is open for discussion on the ranked 4 proposals that would be moved, that would potentially be moved forward to the school board, to the board. So let's open up the floor and have a conversation. I think it can be an open-ended conversation without a lot of focus. And I guess I'll look for hands or for people to take the lead in asking questions and moving it forward. Go ahead, brother, Mr. Ed.
Yeah, I actually, the very first one, the Southside Community Center, Southside Community, that was one that I voted for, I have to admit. And to the proximity of the school, that was my choice. And it is part of the community. And I thought that that was a good name. Uh, as far as the others, those are all great names. The only one that kind of is in the rear here is the Nine Springs. But this is what we voted on, and I like the idea of the way they are right now. That's just me.
Right. Yep. Yeah, keep it moving. Let's hear from others.
I also voted for Southside Community. I just think that since it was such a big deal to bring a school to the Southside community, I just think that that really reflects what we've done as a school and have granted to families. So I think that that was most prevalent for me.
Okay, keep it going. That's good input.
I 3 of these 4 were certainly on my list, and that's the top 3, but not in the same order as what is reflected here, of course. as a family that actually doesn't live on the South Side, but is districted to Southside Community School, that one doesn't rank as high for me just out of that personal experience. But I certainly, Megan, recognize the energy around that, and it was, I think, number 3 or 4 on my list, so it wasn't not there, but not at the top. I think that there was a lot of energy, obviously, in the submissions around Lori Mann-Carey in terms of the number. And although, we had to pick one to move forward, it's hard for me to not feel a sense of acknowledgement towards just the number of submissions in that way. And considering, I'm new-ish to Madison, and so a lot of these names were new to me, and to read about the contributions of herself and Shirley Aberson. This was a really educational experience for me coming into the community, and was really moved, and was previously aware of Ada Deer, who I believe was 1 or 2 on my list, and feel like there's a lot to honor there as well. So I feel that Nine Springs is a surprise to me here, but again, I'm new to the area, so the Springs aren't as at the top of my mind. But I feel that my experience and the weight of sifting through the thoughts and suggestions and desires of the community is reflected here. Not necessarily in the exact ranked order, that it reflects that way, but that's the work that we've done together. And I think this tool is super helpful to be able to see where we're at, the work that we've done, and the way that we've really taken good time to be considerate of what was put before us.
Good input, good insight. Okay, and keeping it moving. Who are we missing? Is there anyone else? Chad, any thoughts?
Yeah, I would definitely go with number 1, just because I am part of the community, and I think having some pride with the students, and bringing school here to this side of the city was a big deal. And I don't know, I just like having the fact that it's the South Side, it's their community, it's their pride. So I ranked it number 1.
All right, that's cool. And I think everybody's commented, so I'll just throw in my evaluation. None of these 4 proposals were on my list. None of them reached the ones that I voted for, and I'll tell you why. The Lori Mann proposal bothered me, not so much the quantity of proposals, but the scope of the of that person. I just felt that that person didn't have the scope. If you remember the terms we were trying to address in that proposal for people,
Right.
that they had impact. That was a very limited, narrow group that supported her in this, all in the South Side. That said to me that she didn't have the same kind of broad-based statue like a Milton McPike or some of the others. So I really didn't have that one in my final list for that reason. It didn't reach the what I thought the board was looking for, the scope of the person's impact. It was very limited, too limited for me. I didn't vote for Southside Community. That was low on my list, my initial list, and then again tonight, because it really didn't send what I thought a motivational message to the kids. If you all remember, one of the things we talked about earlier was that the name of this institution or school should be fresh today and relevant tomorrow. I couldn't connect anything with Southside in my thinking about the name of the school. Ada Deer, she was probably on my initial ranking number 5, so she wouldn't have made it to my top 4. And then Nine Springs, I didn't have them. So I'll leave it there because I think this has got to be a committee decision. I'm supporting the decision of the group. And if we want to move this forward, I'm certainly fine with it. But I do think I had some issues with Lori Mann's ads, and as I said, with Southside. So having said that, I think what I would do now is open the floor for conversations about, and this is our tentative final list, and now we need to have a conversation about the research that's been done on these four. So Barb, I got a question on that. Although we're able to use those tools, do you recommend that we try to go through, because I haven't gone through all of those, y'all. I really haven't. I have not. Some left. So do you recommend that we address the research in this meeting, or begin at this meeting and conclude it later? Or do we have enough information? I know that those four proposals are included in the research that Gail did. How would you recommend we proceed reviewing the research for these four recommended proposals?
Mr. Murray, did you want to say something
Yeah.
before I respond? Okay.
Yes, I do. One of the things that I'm looking at, the fourth one, Nine Springs, it had the least of the amount of what I consider, and I don't quite see Nine Springs being there, but at the same time, uh, is it possible to look at the list again? Uh, but I mean, that's just me. Otherwise, we can go with the list that we have now. I mean, I don't see Nine Springs as really being relevant in this instance. Uh, and I and according to what my chair was just talking about, relevant and is it present for now? That doesn't ring with me on this one. The other thing is the different names that we had for Miss Lori Mann Carr. That was kind of confusing for me too, because I didn't know which way that was going to go. And the fact is that I look at Ada Deer, that is very relevant and really very uh, pointed, and most recognized name, I would think, outside of uh, uh,
Shirley Abraham, Barb.
Shirley Abramson. Yeah, those two names stuck real hard in my mind. So, I mean, I'll just leave it at that. I just wonder if we can strike Nine Springs and bring up something that's might be a little bit more relevant, and also with the community itself. If you look at the ranking of Nine Springs, it is the lowest of all. It's not even in double digits.
Okay, I'm not sure that you're the ranking, the number that you're seeing there next to the name is the proposal number.
Right. Not the
Not-
rank.
It's
Yeah.
not a score.
It's not the ranking.
Right.
So it is-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
I don't know how it ranked.
Okay.
Can you pull that up? I think you can. You can show the details, right?
Um, okay, so not in the ranking tool, that's not where that information is. So let me see if I can find something quickly that will help with that about where it ranked. So that would probably
It would have
be
been good if I could have got the net where each one of the ones that we have now, where they're ranked.
okay.
Oh,
I'm gonna try to find the rank that I gave him at the prior. So just give me a moment here. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. Let me
Sure.
see what I can find for you. So you're asking about a rubric score ranking.
Yes.
Okay,
okay. That's different then. Gotcha.
that is different, yes.
Yeah.
Because the only reason why I look at that, it's like what the community really was speaking to us as a body. When we looked at when we did the rubrics for each one.
I think the Nine Springs was because this once was a Nine Springs area in the community. Because I think that was what the neighborhood was called, Nine Springs, way back. So
So it would
that's
be
probably why
relevant.
it was, up there.
Okay, so it would be relevant with the community itself, is
Yes.
what you're saying, Joe.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Right. But don't ask me where those Nine Springs are, because I can only count two of them.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
That's what the old people around here saying.
I apologize, people. I'm still looking. I want to give you the most relevant information I have. One moment. I'm working on it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me go back to Nine Springs. Oh,
Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay. So the information that I have on Nine Springs in the rankings from the rubric scores is what I'm shooting for here. Nine Springs was given, there are three different proposals, and the two of them had a 2.00 rating, and one of them had a 1.5.
right.
Is that the information you're looking for, Mr. Murray?
Yes, and thank you
Okay.
for that.
Okay.
And that sets my mind at ease now that I've said what I said. So the others that we have on the list, I know I'm okay with the other three that's left. I don't know about anybody else, but I would also like to know the Ruby scores with each one of them. What I'm saying to you is that this gives me a more complete about the whole list itself and how it ranked when we did the Ruby score with it. And I don't know if I'm making sense.
I think
Well-
so. I mean, we're not going to know all of the specific scores for each of the ones that were ranked by the rubric score, and then we had other names that were added without that data, as you know. So I think the ranking tool that we just went through definitely includes those people who thought that Nine Springs should rise to that level. So that has been considered. However, I'm not saying that you can't change the names that you have here now. I think the next step in the procedure is really to have these names go out to the public now, and we get information from them about where they stand on these four names, and then this committee holds a public hearing, and that there has to be 14 days in between now and when that hearing is held. And during that time, certainly the committee members are able to look at the research and do whatever they want to do in between that time. And then once the public hearing is held with this committee, we will ask this committee to one more time vote to make sure that these are the 4 names that you want to advance. So you will have another chance to do this. But the public hearing must be held, and that is the last requirement of the committee.
But I'm suggesting before we get to that point, that the research that Gail has done needs to be factored in. What if? These are just what if kinds of questions. Let's say that these are the 4 that we've whittled down. And now we're going to go back and read that research. If we read some research out there that shows that Nine Springs has some issues, we would certainly be recommending that it wouldn't go for. So, Bob, so before you get to that point, we've got to give people an opportunity to say, based on what Gail has done, is this recommended proposal, Nine Springs, legitimate, illegitimate, worthy, none worthy? I want to have that conversation before we go further. That's why I was asking, how do we now? Like I said, I'm willing to live with these 4, even though I had questions about one of them. But let the research now guide and direct us in terms of getting to a conclusive recommendation of the final 4. It may be after reading it that Nine Springs is not bona fide. It may be that Lori Mahan is not bona fide. So we got to put that research in here.
I guess my confusion is that I felt like that piece happened before we moved these names.
Before we
the
moved
final,
these
like
names.
they had to pass
That
the
is correct.
research check to get to this spot.
I was
Yeah.
going to mention that, that is usually the practice, that's the way the process goes. The research has been there, it's been out there for a little bit, and that was what people took into consideration before they ranked the names.
Well, okay. Well, I missed that point then, you all.
That's
So,
not,
right.
but
So that's what I asked earlier. Did everybody have a chance to review that research? I know I hadn't completed it. I had done much of it, but not all of it. Okay, I can live with that. Let's go. Keep it moving.
okay. Are
I
there
mean,
any other?
I'm good with
Go ahead.
like ensuring we have consensus on that.
Yes.
I'm offering what my process and my understanding was. I'm
Okay.
not, making that as a sweeping statement. If there isn't consensus that we're comfortable that we digested that appropriately, then this is definitely, I think, the time to have that conversation.
That's right.
Okay, well, let me ask this since we've gone through it, and it's a legitimate question for the committee. In the research on Lori Mann, the articles that were presented about some issues in terms of financial fiduciary concerns, did you consider that in your decisions? Or do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. And
Did you?
yeah, I had considerations. The only issues that I had was the multiple names in which it was presented. And these were things that was kind of confusing for me. How can you rank something when they all have different names or different, how their names are written. And, you want to go with the individual that put that in, but at the same time, it's very inconsistent with the name itself. I mean, I'm just really confused on that part too.
My understanding on that was that the name would be standardized based on MMSD practices or with the formal name of the individual, regardless of the nuances of the various proposals.
Okay, then that makes sense.
That they
All
would
right.
check with the family. And that was one of the other factors I thought the board would do is check with the family to identify the appropriate name to be used. Am I saying that right, Barbara?
Yes, we have done so. We have
That's
done
what they
so.
would do to get down to the most appropriate name. That's the naming issue. But I had some real issues with what I thought were character flaws having to do with the financial fiduciary stuff. And I thought we'd have a chance to talk that through. But you're saying, or at least present it and present your cases as we always have done. So if that didn't matter to you all, that's just a disagreement we have. I wouldn't stop the recommendation, but I wanted to hear more about that in terms of the what we found out, or what the researcher found out about that issue.
I apologize for not making that more clear from the start. I thought that if there were questions about the research, that would have happened at that item in the agenda.
I
Oh,
thought, I
So
thought,
I
I
thought
thought,
I apologize.
that I thought we decided that we knew we had some questionable information about that particular proposal, that individual, and we would wait until we got to this point, put it on the table. That's what I thought we decided.
So yes, I thought that it might have been taken up at the research part of the agenda. But
Okay,
so
all right.
I
Don't
which is
belabor it.
just prior.
If the group is comfortable moving that name to the board, I certainly would not hold it up. All right. So if the group is comfortable, having gone through the research that Gail put out there for all those organizations, let us say that we all unanimously approve it. I'm approving this based on this conversation we had because, like I said, I have not read all of that material since last week. Got a little too busy, but I'm willing to yield and say, all right, if you all have read it, I rely on your thoughts.
Would it be appropriate to take a 10-minute recess with these four and each go and just refresh our, and for those that haven't gotten to the research, take 10 minutes to review the four that are before us?
Yes,
well,
if everyone agrees, yes.
I've researched the names, that these four names, so I'm not changing. But yes, I get what you're saying. I've already researched it. But yes, if someone has not, yeah, I feel that's a good idea. I think we all need to be on the same accord. I agree. And then you can make your point about the research, that what the research points out.
Yeah, because I'm feeling that what I digested in the energy that I got is not matching where Mr. Jones is at. So I almost want to take a breath and go back and read and make sure that I held that in the right perspective.
Right. No problem. Yeah.
And my question earlier was going to Barb is for that final review of the research, do we want to try to do it in this meeting in a crunch period or parlay it to the next meeting?
So I was operating under the impression that we would be finalizing the vote here, that these would be the four names going forward in that order. So the next meeting is pretty much definitely working with these four names and getting public input on those between now and then. That is how I was operating. If the group is not comfortable with that, you can meet again for sure if you want to, and and probably have the same kind of meeting that we just had tonight and do the same thing again. Or you can, yes, take a break here and look further at the research of these four names and then decide after, a brief intermission here. That is also very acceptable. So whatever the committee is comfortable with, we don't want to advance anything that the committee is not behind. You may not have a unanimous decision on all four names and in what order that they're in. That is part of the process too.
That's fine. Yeah. So my question was, since I'm the only one with some hesitancy here, here's where I am. I would not want to belabor this meeting any more than necessary. And that if the group has gone through, going through that research, feeling comfortable with that recommended research, supporting these names, my role as on the committee would be to support the committee and their effort. This is a committee decision. It's not one person's. If I'm the one lacking in terms of some detail or whatever, that's on me. It's not on you all. So my question to the group would be this, and I hear what Ben is saying, just keep the process moving, is I remember enough, and I went back and looked at my evaluations for all those four. So I'm basing my the conversation on that. But if the group is comfortable with the data submitted to support the research, let that go. If you have done your due diligence, looking at and reading that information, let it ride. I would say go with that. So, having said that, Ben,
I'm wondering, Mr. Jones, if you're willing to be more candid about your heartburn around Lori Mann Carey, because I feel like I just really missed something in reading the pages and pages and pages. I think there was more research on her maybe than anything else.
well, I tried to be on two fronts. I went back and looked at my evaluation of all of her proposals. Remember, we had to read each and every one. And for all of them, I came down to this conclusion. I did not find her to meet the standard that the board laid out for the prominence. I found, as I said earlier, the people who recommended her only talked about a unique, specific, localized impact. That didn't rise to the level of what I thought prominence meant. And the other one was significance. Don't get me wrong. I thought she started some good programs, whatever. So my evaluation of her proposals for all of them were low in those areas. That's the first thing. Now, the research that I'm talking about had to go to some of the early findings in terms of her fiduciary practices of her organization. So that's character related in my mind. She didn't go to jail. If I don't let me overstate anything, Bob didn't go to jail, but it was known that there were some questions about the financial fiduciary practices that she brought forward. My question to that is, if I'm going to put a person in front of whether it's the Senate committee for confirmation or the superintendent for confirmation, those kind of issues would not rise to my level. Is that clear enough? Do we
I
need?
do have, Ben, I'm sorry, I have one more
Please.
thing to say about the research on Lori Mann Carey.
Go ahead.
Yes, so I want to stay high level on this because there's no reason to go into the extent of the information that you could do that anybody can get if they want to look for it. But I will say that she was never there was never any wrongdoing,
Yeah.
never anything like that. It was not anything like that at all. That may very well have been and I will just say this, there may have been financial struggles, some related to the fact that she was ill for a very long time,
Very long time. Very long.
and it was with cancer. So that is one thing that can set people back immediately. But I do want to clarify that everything that she did with the school district was every bit what the proposals were conveying, that she was a very great person and a great person in that community and for the children directly. And she did start a program at MMSD called Mission 4.0. So without, I'm sure that they did struggle and they had a big family. So that's really all I want to say about that. So if people want to get deeper into that, they can, but there's nothing there that signifies that she did anything wrong.
Right.
Okay.
And if you remember, I said, even though she didn't rise to my top 10, her proposal, it was based on the board's policy of prominence and significance. That's what I evaluate them all on. This issue that we're talking about tonight, I said would not hold up. If the committee decides, and it sounds like we have, to submit them forward, I wouldn't hold up that recommendation. It's just where we said earlier, we're never going to have 100% agreement on anything, and I'm okay with that. So that's what I would say. And given that, if the mindset of the group is the same, I would say there's no need to go back. This is what I was going to say earlier. No need to go back and reread the stuff. Let's just move it forward.
No, that's Barb, that's very helpful. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss some ethics concern.
You did not.
My digestion of it was someone that overcame a lot of hardship and contributed a ton to the local school district, is what I walked away with. So I just wanted to be sure I didn't miss some glaring ethical issue, that
Not at all.
yeah. So thank you for the clarity, and
welcome.
thank you. And Mr. Jones, to be clear, my questioning was not to try and poke holes in where you were coming from, but to truly make sure I wasn't missing something.
I understand it. There's nothing wrong with clarification and qualification. So now, so having said that, it just seems to me that we're back to the point where we've got the final four as recommended. And then now the next step is to ask this group, I'll entertain a motion to move forward these four recommended proposals to the school board for consideration for the next naming. Mr. Murray.
I move that we move forward with the four names that we have selected as a group for the community to be reviewing.
All right, is there a second to the motion? Properly made motion to move it forward. And Megan? Second. All right, good. All right. A motion has been made, properly second. Is there any questions, clarifications? All in favor? All right. Good. Any opposition? Opposes? Seeing none. Any abstentions? Seeing none. Motion passes. We will move forward with these four names that have been ranked, discussed, evaluated by the committee forward. The next step in the process now, if you recall what Barb said, is we now have to think about a meeting of the public, an open meeting, to have their input on these four names. So now I will return to Barb to talk about that process, those dates, how we move this thing forward.
Thank you. I'm gonna share my screen one more time.
All right.
I'm back in board docs right now, and this is in your information as well. So the next step, as I said, according to the policy, is to wait 14 days. And in that time, the district will definitely be pushing out information about these names and their order coming from this committee. And we come together again to do a public hearing with this body. I have tentatively scheduled that for January 7. It would probably be, the same time frame that we do these meetings. It's a Tuesday. It would probably be probably the later start time though, I would suggest at 6 o'clock, 6 to 8 or 5:30 or something like that. So that really is all it is a public hearing, and you take in the information, and then you can vote again on the four names or just leave them where they are right now. So that's the next step in the process. Once that happens, then Chairperson Mr. Jones will be asked to attend the first work group meeting of the Board of Education in February, which is on the 3rd of February, and he will pass on the recommendations of this committee. You are all definitely invited to attend that meeting and observe, but he would really be the only one that would be speaking at the meeting. And that is it's a formal agenda item for the board. So there is room there for dialogue, and Mr. Jones would be asked to, give the recommendations, and the board can ask questions or do whatever they want at that point. So then the last step is for the board to make the final vote, and that would be held on February 24th at their regular meeting, which is the meeting where they make most of their decisions. So, and that would be the end of the process. After that, then the school would take it from there, and if they needed to do a celebration and hold something like that in the future, they could do that. We also, if we needed to make sign changes, we would definitely get that ball rolling, and everything that we needed to do internally to support the school to finalize the name would happen internally.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Barb as far as next steps and so forth? All right, seeing none. All right. So we have a game plan going forward. And we have one other agenda item coming up, and that is future meetings. So I guess on that item, what I would say, Barb, is now as you laid out those dates for the board meeting and the public hearing. Now, do you all schedule that public hearing? You all have we don't have to do it, right? It's you and staff
Yeah,
from,
January 7th is what we're proposing.
and it's already scheduled and set up to contact the media and all.
That is correct. Hopefully hopefully the members of this committee can make that. I tried to keep it on a Tuesday and tried to keep it consistent.
Talk a bit about the structure of that meeting. Um, so so that the committee will know. How do we arrange it? Do we act as like a panel to respond to questions from the community, or do we act like it's a testimonial in other board hearings where people come up, present their thoughts, and move it on, and
That is correct. It is
record
the
it,
latter.
taking notes, so everybody get a sense of what the meeting, how it will be conducted. Who will
So
be,
it would still be a committee meeting, just like these are. Mr. Jones would be the chair. Members of the community would be asked to make a 3-minute presentation, not a presentation, but they would make their statements.
3 minutes. Gotcha.
Not a dialogue. It is definitely just a one-way communication to the committee. There's no questions answered here at this point or anything like that. I mean, we can start the meeting and talk a little bit about the process that you've all been through, and that's normal, but it is not a dialogue.
Okay. And as far as the board representation, are they required to be there or can be there?
This is the committee. This is the committee. So not the board yet. As soon as you turn over the recommendations to the board at their work group meeting, it is then in their arena. That work group meeting is theirs. The regular meeting where they vote on it is their meeting. Those are also 2 additional places where there'll be public input, as there normally is for those board meetings. So people would have an additional 2 times to speak to the board about this naming if they wanted to.
So the purpose and function of this meeting is to hear from the community.
Yes.
Not necessarily to change the decision of what's the impact of it. Because I'm thinking about these legislative hearings I've been a part of all my life. Now, so let's say someone comes there and makes a proposal that, okay, you all have these 4 recommended solutions and you should have recommended X. Well, it's just information that they're giving us. It's not necessarily binding. Am I saying that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Not necessarily
Gotcha.
binding. You can use it as you want to as an individual.
Gotcha. But our decision has been made. The 4 that we're recommending going forward. Now, the board will not have seen these until after that meeting, right?
Oh no, this is a public meeting. We're definitely live, so everybody will know about this like now. I'm sure that they're probably watching.
Let me be clear.
Yes.
We will not have sent a recommended list to the board until after this meeting. Am I
That
saying?
is correct. That is
Yeah.
correct. That
So
is
you won't get
correct.
formal notification until we have that meeting, hear from the public, and get these. I doubt they're going to change. These will be the 4 that we go forward with.
Fundamentally, we could be persuaded to make a change based on public comment or no.
Yes. That is a
Right.
yes.
Good, right?
That is a yes.
Be interesting.
Yes. Yes. Public
Okay.
hearings are always interesting. Always.
Other concerns or questions for Barb on the next steps?
I just hope Schoolie McSchoolface shows up.
Oh yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it? And we will be recording that meeting, right?
Oh yes, very definitely. Yes.
All right. Okay.
Put that on your calendar, please. January 7th.
Yeah.
Would you
6 o'clock.
prefer that we try it at 6 o'clock or 6 o'clock would be good? Is that good for the committee? 6 p.m.
Yes.
That's what I need.
All right. Gotcha.
I also want to take this opportunity to express my thank you to all of you for participating in this. including Anu and Jesse and Demetra who supported this meeting. I just really have a very, very deep appreciation for community people who take part in this process because it is very meaningful and your decision is going to go on for many years past you. And so I really appreciate your input and your time and your energy and everything about it. So thank you very much for participating on behalf of the MMSD. We really, really thank you for helping us out here.
And I just want to add a round of applause for each and every one of you. I know we interrupted some of your home and business related issues, but we got through it. So if you remember, we started this process saying it's a committee's decision. Whatever the committee does as a whole is the decision of the body. So we all live with that decision. We move it forward. It was a collective voice. And now, as we move toward the closure, we would be remiss if we didn't recognize one of the most heartfelt tragedies in our community that we can all remember. And I know that you've all been probably glued to your TVs, television, radios, and maybe your phones, kind of getting the updates on the police department's updates, City of Madison updates, County Dane updates on Abundant Life Christian School. But I'd like to just say that with all the power we have, let us come together as a collective, one voice, and address this issue of healing right now. We will be asked to do different things in the future to address the issue of concern that led to the need for healing. But more than anything else, let us place in our minds that this happened at a school, one of the most fundamental resources that we have. So we're going to close it out tonight by giving everybody some space to bring forth your closing statements over the last couple of days. How about it, Megan?
Do I have to go first? I really was not prepared.
Okay. All right, go ahead. How about it, Ms. Ed? Murray?
Oh, yeah, I've been in and out of that school, I don't know how many times. My granddaughters both are in college. Well, one is graduated. Well, they used to play basketball there with the girls team, and both of them are, grown people now. So it really touched me because I know one or two of the staff even that's there. It's kind of tough when you know and have ties with the school. But like most of us, we had prayers and we are sending out our prayers to them. So that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
Okay. Moving to Barb.
Yes, the recent tragedy, I mean, it's impacting everybody and everything. It's not a reason for Madison to become a national topic. So very, very sad. I'm very sad about the whole thing. It's not a great way to go into the winter break, but the winter break is, like you said, a time to try to start healing and moving forward. It's just super, super sad. Yes, I'm very broken up about it. So I'm glad that we have this little piece of happiness that we can share about, the naming of the school. So thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Anu, how are you doing?
Thank you, Mr. Jones. It's been a heavy day, but what was wonderful to hear today and all the times I've been with you all is what our school means to you and what the school and the deep connections you have with the school and community. It was very moving to hear. And Mr. Jones, I'm forever grateful for your guidance and wisdom on the committee as a chair. It's just, I learned a lot from you. And the committee. Thank you for your time. And as many of us have said, this is such an important thing you're doing, naming a school, leaving behind a legacy. So thank you for that. And of course, Barb, Jesse, Demetra kept us all organized and, on task and going. Appreciate all very much. So thank you. As we go along, I'm gonna miss my Tuesdays with you.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Okay. Joey, how are you doing? Oh, you muted. There you go.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity. I know it's been rough for me. Trying to juggle personal work and other things I have to do. But thank you, Barb, for being so understanding and being part of this great success and being so organized. And I definitely did hug my boy, and my nephew's a little tighter. So it was a little hard, but sad, and having this time and this break with our family, we just need to be strong as a community and for each other, and for the world to see, because we are on the national news.
Right. All right. Good. Megan, you ready?
Yeah,
Go.
thanks everybody. Thanks. You just threw me off, putting me on the spot there. No, but my heart goes out to all the families affected by yesterday's tragedy, and it just makes me take my job all the more serious, and keeping my students' safety as like my utmost priority. So
I love it. All right. And Ben, how you doing?
Tough day. We live 1 mile down the road from the school, and my children attend school 1 mile down the road on the same road. And I was at home hearing sirens that just weren't stopping,
Wow.
and soon put together what was happening. And my oldest child was at middle school across town, hearing that there was an active shooter at a school on Buckeye, and panicked that that was happening where her siblings were,
Oh,
which is not an experience that I ever want my kid or any child to have. 1 mile down the road. And I ended the day with deep gratitude that felt like it came at the expense of someone else's tragedy. And I am super grateful for the leadership at Nuestro Mundo being 1 mile down the road, and the way in which they shielded kids from seeing lights and sirens going by, the way that they just quickly moved and as though they had practiced. And I wish that was not something we needed to do. But grateful for the leadership from from the top down, Dr. Ebby and your teams and all the work that goes in, and of course the community resources that pour out. My wife is a social worker in the schools, and was in Mount Horeb on campus this past May, when that incident occurred. And so our family's tired, and look forward to living in a country where we value our kids more than our guns. And I'll just say it.
say it. Say it. All right. And Jesse, is she still with us?
Yep, I'm still here. I don't know if I can say it any better than everybody else has. My heart goes out to everybody at the school and within that community. And this is our chance to come together and hopefully make change.
Right. You're right. So I don't want to belabor it, but I just wanted to give you all the space to bring out some of your thoughts, and some of your well wishes. But I woke up this morning wanting to hug a child. I said to myself, if we can't hug our children, so I'm going to find a child, a school age child, to hug somewhere. wherever I can't wait until Sunday to get to church. So in my daily walks tomorrow, I'll be looking to hug a child. We need to let them know this is bad, but it's not the end. Let us work together and stay together. All right. Appreciate everybody's time and attention. Entertain a motion to adjourn. All right. Is that Ben?
It can be. I will motion or second or whatever we need here.
A motion to adjourn. Let that be a second.
I'll second it.
And it's non-debatable. So we do for protocol, put it in the minutes. Thank you, each and every one of you. And as chair, it was a lot of fun working with you. A lot of hard work too, but we got through it. So I want to tap each and every one of you on the shoulder and say, job well done. Appreciate you, love you. Be good and be kind to someone else.
Right back at you.
All right.
Right back at you.